Korea unique venue.
그레이한 세상 너무 그레이한 매일 밤 회색 하늘이 질려서 딴 데로 가 Why your problem? 우린 달라 With a UCD 행도시를 바꿔줘 내 flow so relaxing 환경 울산처럼 가졌어 자연 바다를 가까이에 Pluto more space on 좁은 방보다 작진 Oh yeah one 함 세워보자 one 도시 가로질러 흘러가는 강도 펼쳐져 있는 자연 모두에게 될걸 벚꽃도 걸어도 발 닿는 데마다 그림이 펼쳐지는 걸 흔한 이야 꿈 회색 도시는 끝 더 좋아질 거란 걸 우린 알고 있거든 누가 마다하겠냐고 With a 울산 city boy 너만 몰라본 것 같아 With a king boy
Yo, 이런 도시 없었잖아, 지.
2021 한국 관광
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Korea International Travel Expo 2021. I am Lee Sang-woo from the Korea Tourism Organization. I would like to give you a short presentation on the Korea International Travel Expo 2021.
이번 박람회는
It is a large expo that combines 4 separate events, namely Korea Travel Mart, Korea MICE Expo, Korea Luxury Travel Mart, and Korea Medical Wellness Tourism Fair that have been organized by the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism and the Korea Tourism Organization. It is indeed a very large tourism expo held in Korea, and we have a lot of expectations about this. And we believe that this expo will provide a lot of networking opportunities for those who are involved in international travel and will give you a chance to experience Korea. The Korea International Travel Expo will be held for 15 days starting from today, and 4 separate events will be held in sequence as part of the expo. And they will include exhibitions, opening ceremony, consultation sessions, and events and conferences. The opening ceremony is being held in Incheon, and the exhibitions and consultations and conferences are provided virtually. And there will be many interesting events held throughout Korea. Now, I'm going to hand over to Lee Sang-ji for more details.
먼저 오늘 개막식 소개.
Let me give you a short introduction to the opening ceremony, which is being broadcast live around the world. The ceremony is being held in Yeongjong-do in Incheon, which is the gateway to Korean travel. And I believe that this will mark a strong beginning of this expo and will also give you a chance to experience what Korea can offer. We will hear from the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism as well as Mayor of Incheon Metropolitan City, and there will be hologram keynote presentations by tourism leaders as well as night scenery events. Here in Seongdo, we have multiple drones that are being ready for takeoff, and you will be able to see them very soon. And next is exhibitions and consultation sessions, which will be provided virtually in multi-language platform. There will be promotional booths provided by local governments as well as tourism companies both in Korea and around the world. There will be 40 separate business sessions available. Now, this is the Korea Travel Promotion exhibition where you can purchase travel products, including virtual Korea trips and discounted plane tickets. So please don't miss these special offers. Next, I'm going to hand over to this very special robot. Let me introduce the rest of the events. We have prepared a diverse events for visitors who are visiting us online. There will be virtual tours, including fam tour and luxury tour. And we have live talk show with K-pop celebrities. And there will be medical and wellness experience events and overseas MICE road show. And finally, we will have conferences, which will be held throughout the expo. And many experts on tourism will offer information and knowledge that can help the tourism industry to resume their activities in the post-COVID era. And these will be held virtually, so you can participate online. This is the end of the presentation on the expo. Thank you very much.
먼저 대한민국
We
정부를
would now like to invite Minister Hwang Hee of the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism for his remarks. Please invite the minister to the stage with a big round of applause.
네, 반갑습니다.
Pleased to meet you. As have been introduced, I am Hwang Hee, Minister of Sports, Culture and Tourism. I would like to congratulate you on the opening of the Korea International Travel Expo. Thank you very much to the members of the tourism industry and the academia for joining us today. And thank you to all those who are joining us online as well. We welcome you and thank you.
코로나19 이후
Ever since COVID-19, the tourism industry was indeed impacted.
50만
In
명이었습니다.
2019, we have had over 19 million visitors that dropped
감소하고
by 85.6%, and that was only 2 million. We are halfway through 2021, and it seems that the situation on site is not that different from last year. Thankfully, recently we have seen the pickup of pace in vaccination. We hope that we will be able to vaccinate 70% of our population by the end of the year, and we will hopefully achieve herd immunity, normalizing the tourism industry.
관광시장이
From now, we look forward to the revival of the tourism industry. We hope that we can gather our wisdoms and run forward together. We are at a very important inflection point for the tourism industry, and in order to facilitate the rapid response by the industry, we have actually brought together the 4 areas, including MICE, travel in Korea, luxury, and medical wellness, into a single expo. Through this integration, we hope to expand the scale of tourism and also expand the venue for exchanges between different sectors of tourism, and to provide more opportunities for buyers and sellers from home and abroad. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism will continue to make our efforts to bring about measures and countermeasures. We have already announced our plans to achieve travel bubbles with those with safe immunity related systems, and we have also invited incentive and medical wellness practitioners so that we can promote our travel. We have also visited Spain with the President of the Republic of Korea, and we have extended the Korea-Spain exchange year by a single year. This will indeed help us continue with cooperation projects with Spain with the world's top competitiveness in terms of tourism, and we hope that we can continue to grow together with countries in Europe and Latin America. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism will continue to do our utmost so that we can lay down the foundation for the tourism industry to go further and leap higher. And also, in order to preemptively respond to the rapid changes of the future environment, we have achieved 17 billion won in supplementary budget so that we can continue to invest in digitization of travel, MICE, and theater industries, and also the fostering of experts in this area. Ironically, COVID-19 has helped us realize the happiness that we can experience from tourism and travel. I do hope that today will serve as a turning point for us to closely communicate with the tourism industry, both home and abroad, and lay down the foundation for a hopeful future. We do hope that what we are doing will bring together happiness and freedom to people around the world who are suffering from COVID-19. Our ministry will surely do our utmost to make sure that we contribute to everyone going back to their normal lives, and also so that people around the world can freely communicate and participate in exchanges regardless of nation and location. Thank you to President An Young-bae of KTO, President Min Min-hong of the Incheon Tourism Organization, as well as Mayor Bang Nam-chun of the Incheon Metropolitan City for your efforts and support to make today's expo possible. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
이어서
Now, on behalf of the Korea Tourism Organization that has organized the expo, we would like to invite CEO An Young-bae of KTO to declare the opening. Please welcome him with a big hand.
여러분 안녕하십니까?
Good evening, everyone. I am An Yongbae, CEO of the Korea Tourism Organization. Here in Incheon, in the Republic of Korea, we're holding the Korea International Travel Expo 2021. I would like to welcome all of you, all the participants from 40 different countries around the world. And in particular, I would like to express my gratitude to Minister Hwang Hee of the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, as well as Mayor Bang Nam-chun of Incheon Metropolitan City for being here with us despite their very busy schedule. I would also like to express my gratitude to CEO Min Myung-un of Incheon Tourism Organization, as well as organizations in charge of tourism from many local governments in Korea. Thank you very much for your presence. I would also like to express my thanks to all the participants. This Korea International Travel Expo is a single expo that has combined 4 separate events. As was mentioned by Minister, we have combined 4 separate events on Korea travel, MICE, luxury travel, and medical and wellness tourism so that we can maximize the benefit of such expo. I believe that this expo will help facilitate the travel industry and help resume overseas travel. And this expo is going to be an opportunity for you to experience Korean tourism both online and offline. Those who are participating in this event from online will be able to experience various and attractive tourism destinations in Korea, as well as advanced meeting technology. And this expo will be a venue for global tourism industry to interact with one another and contribute to the development of international travel. I'd like to ask for your support and active participation. I wish all of your health and happiness. Now, I declare the opening of the Korea International Travel Expo 2021. Thank you.
말씀 잘 들었습니다.
Thank you very much for your remarks. We would now like to invite Mayor Bang Nam-chun of the Incheon Metropolitan City for his words of welcome. Please welcome the mayor with a big round of applause.
예, 안녕하세요.
Good evening. Welcome to Korea International Travel Expo 2021. Thank you very much to Minister Hwang Hee and President An Yongbae, as well as distinguished guests from the MICE and tourism industry for joining us today. Welcome. As have been introduced, I am Bang Nam-chun, Mayor of the Incheon Metropolitan City. In order to overcome the COVID-19 crisis and to preemptively respond to the increased demand expected in the post-pandemic world, this year's expo brings together the MICE and travel sectors, which have had 4 different expos in the previous years. We look forward to your interest and participation in the Korea MICE Expo, which opens today, as well as the expos of 3 other sectors to continue for the next 2 weeks. As you are well aware, Incheon is home to Korea's iconic airport and seaport. Incheon is a global city with outstanding MICE infrastructure, including the Songdo District, Korea's first international conference complex. Against this backdrop, Incheon has continued to strengthen relevant industry ecosystems. It is quite true that the unexpected pandemic did impact the tourism and MICE industries, which innately includes the sharing of experiences through gatherings and exchanges. However, in order to leverage the crisis as an opportunity, Incheon has launched a new initiative. By introducing the Clean Incheon Access Certification System for MICE events from the early stages of the pandemic, Incheon has established a safe environment for events and also focused on investing in equipment and facilities to enable contactless meetings. Incheon strengthened our support for the recovery of the tourism and MICE industries, which inevitably took a hit. Taking into consideration the rapid social changes to be expected post-COVID-19, we have launched the following. The Incheon MICE Support Center was opened early this year to effectively support the MICE industry. Korea's first XR metaverse ecosystem was established using smart media. Thanks to such preparations, the day we are able to return to life as we knew it, after overcoming COVID-19, the visitors of Incheon will be able to experience the attractiveness of Incheon, a city of contrasting charms and coexistence. I look forward to this expo serving as a turning point to turn crisis into opportunity and revitalizing the MICE and tourism industries in the post-pandemic world. We pledge that Incheon will continue to play our part. Thank you very much.
말씀 잘 들었습니다.
Thank you very much, Mayor Park, for your remarks. Next, we will hear a special video message from overseas.
장소에 직접
He
방문
was going to visit Korea and deliver his message in person, but was not able to make it. So instead, CEO Burkhard Kicker of Visit Berlin has sent us a video message.
자, 만나보시죠.
So let us watch the video together.
Dear friends in Korea, greetings from my heart from Berlin to you, to Seoul, and unfortunately I can't be with you this time. I would have liked so much to be with you and to give the opening speech for KITE 2021, and I hope that I have the next opportunity, maybe next year, to join and to celebrate with you. I can't come out of a very simple reason. Berlin, the capital of Germany, is restarting and I have to be here. It would be a big mistake not to be here, also politically. We have to restart our city, we have to bring in tourists, we have to bring back congresses, we have to bring back the whole MICE business after 1 year of close down. So, similar situation like with you in Seoul, and so I hope sincerely for your understanding. The current situation here in Germany, and especially in the German capital Berlin, is that the COVID numbers are very low due to the summer, due to our vaccination program, and due to strict hygiene. So we are opening up again, and we think that the future looks bright, that we are coming back, we are restarting, and I hope that you in Seoul do the same very soon. We also hope to see so many of you come to our city, visit us, and as you know, we have a new airport, a brand new international airport with high-speed trains underneath, and Berlin is becoming a perfect entry point from Korea into Germany and Europe. So again, from my heart, I wish you a very successful meeting. I wish you a very successful KITE 2021, and please take my deepest apologies for not being with you this time. But as soon as possible, I'll come and visit you. Thank you very much.
이번 순서는 해외 전문
Next, we will hear a keynote address by one of our foreign speakers.
국제
This will be an opportunity to reflect on what the Korean tourism industry needs to do in order to prepare for the time when international travel resumes. And this will be an opportunity to compare our cases with overseas cases. First of all, we will invite Chang Chi-pei, Assistant Chief Executive of the International Group at the Singapore Tourism Board. The topic of his keynote address is Outlook on the Post-Pandemic Era and Preparing for the Future. He is going to join us in the hologram on this very stage. So please welcome Mr. Pei with a big round of applause.
Good evening, Minister Huang, Mayor Pang, Mr. An, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. Yorobun annyeonghaseyo. It is my pleasure to join you at this year's Korea International Travel Expo. I'm glad we can still connect with everyone, even during this unprecedented time. In fact, through this hologram, I feel that I'm physically present at the event with all of you. Tourism is integral to Singapore's position as a vibrant, connected hub that enables not just the exchange of goods and services, but also the exchange of ideas, experiences, and talent. Our sector has faced immense disruptions around the world, and we must be ready to do things differently and progressively in a post-COVID world. For us here in Singapore, we aim to position ourselves at the forefront of change and be bold in offering new products and experiences to compete and reinvent global travel. Let me just firstly update you on the current situation in Singapore with regards to COVID-19. We have fine-tuned our contact tracing and testing capabilities as more COVID-19 tests becomes available, such as through breath analyzer, DIY test kits, etc. This means that when COVID-19 cases do arise, our healthcare authorities can ring-fence cases more quickly, providing greater assurance to our people and businesses as we reopen. Singapore has also made good progress in vaccination. According to our Ministry of Health, 3 million people, or 53% of the population in Singapore, have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine as of 24th of June 2021. Of this group, about 2 million people, or about 36% of the population, have completed the full vaccination regime of 2 doses. Singapore has also introduced different travel lanes to reopen borders in a safe way. In the current COVID-19 environment, the need for governments and countries to work together is even more critical than ever before as we all move towards some safe resumption of opening of our borders. To date, Singapore has established several reciprocal green lanes as well as unilateral openings, and we will continue to have negotiations with more countries as we discuss about reciprocal opening travel arrangements. The Singapore Tourism Board remains a very strong advocate for the reopening of our borders, and we are working with the whole of government here in Singapore to explore various possibilities to reopen in a safe way. In February this year, for example, Connect at Changi was launched. This is a quarantine-free international bubble facility to allow business travelers to stay and to meet safely with their local and international counterparts. The impact of COVID-19 has been felt keenly across the world, especially for those in the tourism sector. The road to recovery is long, and it's unlikely that international travel will rebound quickly this year. So it might take a few years before we see international tourism numbers to return to 2019 levels. But tourism remains a key economic pillar for us here in Singapore, and we are confident in the long-term prospects of Singapore's tourism sector. As such, we are committed to continue working closely with our tourism players, and we have rolled out a series of assistance measures to help businesses through this very trying period. The Singapore government has committed 100 billion Singapore dollars to protect jobs and to help local businesses stay viable. This is about 20% of our GDP and is a strong reflection of the Singapore government's commitment to support jobs and livelihoods. Some tourism-specific measures were also implemented, such as defraying business costs, assisting with cash flow and credit, and helping tourism workers stay employed and deepen their skills. We are also sustaining tourism businesses through advocating and encouraging domestic tourism. As you might be aware, Our domestic campaign, Singapore Rediscover, was launched in July last year. Beyond supporting and amplifying our domestic marketing efforts, the campaign also helped to spur several cross-industry collaborations to create more unique experiences to appeal to our new audience. For this campaign, 320 million Singapore dollars was set aside in the form of Singapore Rediscover vouchers, with $100 given to every Singapore citizen to spend on approved staycations, tours, and attractions. Businesses have responded well to the Singapore Rediscovers campaign by introducing new, safe, and attractive tourism experiences and promotions to encourage locals to do more here in Singapore. Over the past year, the Singapore Tourism Board has also worked with the local tourism industry to reopen tourism businesses and resume events safely. As we wait for international travel to return on a larger scale, we are focused on two main areas. One, strengthening Singapore's brand image around the world by bringing Singapore experiences straight into the homes of our audience. Secondly, to retain mindshare, using partnerships to continue for us to engage our international audience as we prepare for recovery. Let me just share a few examples. To keep Singapore top of mind amongst Korean drama fans, STB Korea has forged a 3-year MOU with Studio Dragon's Corporation. This partnership will promote Singapore as a destination in South Korea and other countries through the productions of Korean dramas in Singapore, and we hope that those productions can take place in the very near future. Furthermore, Wildlife Reserve Singapore, which operates a Singapore Zoo, has also launched a Disney Outdoor Explorers campaign where visitors get to learn more about the animals in the Singapore Zoo and River Safari with the help of Disney favorites Mickey and Minnie. The Ascot Limited Group also launched their Hey Explorer promotion, offering guests who are Ascot Star Rewards members a complimentary heritage walking tour experience with their stay in any of their participating properties. We have also put in place safe measures to welcome BT MICE and leisure visitors physically to Singapore. Singapore is amongst the first countries in the world to launch a public hygiene and sanitation certification program called SG Clean, SG being the short form for Singapore. Over the past year, more than 31,000 tourism establishments have been certified SG Clean. We have been also experimenting with different safe business event formats and hosted more than 80 business events with about 13,500 local and foreign attendees. As importantly, we have also established the world's first cruise safe certification, which has allowed more than 120,000 locals to sail on fun and innovative cruises to nowhere from Singapore. In November last year, we announced Singapore Reimagine, a new international campaign to spark conversations, stories, and ideas for the future of the tourism sector, not just for Singapore, but also around the world. These projects are a welcome breath of fresh air. Since the pandemic, we have been constantly talking about weathering disruptions and recovery for the immediate term. But now, it's also time for us to think about and act for our future. What do we need to do today so that we can thrive and succeed tomorrow? The Singapore Tourism Board have identified 5 key trends arising from COVID-19 that we hope will be addressed in the near future. Firstly, the global acceleration of remote working and virtual events. We expect to see more hybrid events and greater emphasis on social distanced meetings. There is also a greater call for local advocacy and pride for tourism offerings, with heavier reliance on domestic tourism to sustain this sector. We see increasing emphasis and interest in holistic wellness as more people are facing stress and disruptions due to COVID-19. The strategic case for sustainability has also accelerated with COVID-19. There is growing awareness of conscious consumption and climate change. Lastly, with the unprecedented rate of technological adoption, business leaders are also looking to build agile and resilient infrastructure that can enable them to provide greater experiences for customers, even during situations like COVID-19. As we push forward in 2021, the challenge that lies ahead is not the recovery within this year or even next year, but how Singapore will prepare for long-term success and be at the forefront and riding the wave of changes in trends in global travel. We hope that both local and international partners will work with us together on this journey so that we will equip ourselves for success in the future tourism economy. I thank you again for the opportunity to speak in today's event, and I wish you a very good sessions in the weeks ahead. Thank you. 감사합니다.
이번 순서는 조금
Now we will have a special meeting with someone special. She is a popular actress from the UK and she has also hosted several travel programs. It is Joanna Lumley. After a short interview with her, we will have a panel discussion together with Joanna and Chang-chi.
만남은 한국관광공사
This special interview will be conducted by Chung Ah-rum from Korea Tourism Organization. I'd like to invite Ms. Chung on the stage.
안녕하세요. 저는 한국관광
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chung Ah-rum from Korea Tourism Organization. I enjoyed a very impressive presentation by Chang-chi Pei from Singapore. Now, I'm going to invite someone special who can tell us her own stories of a traveler, and she's going to join us from London in the UK.
Hello, Joanna.
How lovely to see you.
It's such a great pleasure to meet you through this awesome hologram. I can't tell you how excited I am to have opportunity to chat with you today. How are you today?
Extremely well, and wishing so much that I was in Seoul with you.
I have such a great memories of studying in the UK and would love to go back to visit soon. I'm sure you haven't been able to travel for a while. Do you miss traveling?
I miss traveling so much. But first of all, before I even go on, I just want to say, if I may, distinguished Minister, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, Annyeong Haseo, and to this wonderful audience as well, I am so proud to be with you. And to go back to the story of traveling, I miss it more than I can tell you. The huge chance to see the world, to see people's cultures, to speak and try different languages and foods. I just miss it with all my heart. But the good thing is that you can look forward to it in the future and make plans. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to put those plans into practice.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure many of us here feel the same way. You are a style icon and you are everybody's favorite actress, but your travel program is also loved by fans across the world. What triggered your interest in travel, and how did your travel show start?
We have a saying here, which is to be born in a suitcase. And I was born in Kashmir, the year before India gained her independence. And since then, I traveled with my father, who was a soldier with the Gurkhas, and we went to Hong Kong, and I was brought up in Hong Kong and Malaysia, of course, always coming through Singapore, which has remained part of my childhood memories. And then I felt that I just loved traveling. At school, I learned languages. I learned Latin, of course, and French, and German, and Italian. And all I wanted to do was to pack my bags and travel in the world and see and meet different people, different cultures, different practices.
Yes, beautiful. I also watched your travel program. I love them all a lot. One thing I haven't noticed, your travel show seems to focus on hidden gems rather than famous tourist attractions. What is your criteria for choosing locations for your travel?
It's just that we feel that, for instance, if you go to India, you probably will see the Taj Mahal. And so for people who have been to India, we want to show them a different temple. We love to talk to people who are off the beaten track. Someone in the highlands of Turkey who is making cheese in his own family business. These sorts of people you wouldn't see as a tourist. And it's such a privilege to go into people's homes and small businesses and to go to the parts that maybe tourism doesn't show you. But having said that, I am yearning, because I have a thing about fortresses and huge castles. I might pronounce this wrong, but I want to see the fortress. Is it at Suwon? I long to see that.
Thank you so much for sharing your tips. I will keep that in my mind for my next trip. In your travel programs, you seem committed to understanding the locals and their culture. What travel style do you enjoy the most? What is the value and appeal that traveling has for you?
I think I like to mix up my traveling styles. So while it's always lovely to have a camp bed and a little tent and your own torch at night time and a sleeping bag, it's also wonderful to see some of the great luxurious hotels around the world, and also to stay in people's homes and to sleep on trains. I just love everything that changes. And my tips for everybody would be, don't be afraid to step off the beaten track and do something a little bit different. You'll find it's quite wonderful. And open your eyes, make friends, have respect for the country you go to. And even if it's something that you may not do at home, you understand that people do it here, and it's wonderful. So be brave.
Thank you so much for sharing your tips as well. I can see that you clearly have your own unique travel style. As far as I know, you haven't been to Korea yet. Korea offers opportunities to enjoy both the traditional culture and modern attractions. We also offer fabulous hospitality. Besides, there are many fans here who love your TV series and movies. We would be very delighted if you made a trip to Korea soon.
I would love to visit Korea more than I can tell you, because quite apart from the huge global influence of K-pop, my husband is an opera conductor, and he works so much with opera singers and musicians from Korea. And of course, in my world, in the acting industry and films, the impact of Korean culture on the world is inestimable. It is fantastically powerful. And to come to the country which has produced so much beauty, so much wisdom, culture, respect, and the thrills that you've given us, I can't wait to come to Korea. So I'm packing my bags already. As soon as the terrible kind of constrictions are lifted, I shall break out of the chains. And with the rest of you, dear delegates and dear friends, we shall be traveling the world again. When we see each other, we'll be waving and saying, we're free, we're traveling again.
I can't wait to see you travel in Korea as well. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation, Joanna. 네, 지금까지 조애나.
So that has been Joanna Lumley. Thank you.
네, 다음으로는 오늘
Next, we would like to invite our two guests from abroad to talk about the revitalization of international travel and travel in Korea.
Mr. Chang. The world needs to work together to overcome the current crisis in the tourism industry and bring back international tourism. What do you think? What are some critical areas of cooperation?
Thank you for the question. Maybe I just look at it from two levels. I think firstly is at the G2G level, right? What the various governments around the world can look into recognizing each other's vaccine certification as a way to establish more confidence in reopening the borders. I think that's going to be quite an important piece of work ahead as we look into getting out of this COVID-19 situation. So the ability to look at vaccination certificates and be able to prove their authenticity, that they are secure, they are tamper-proof, and they're verifiable, I think will be one of the important confidence building measures as we restart international travel. I think the second part is really at the business level. How do we work with the travel trade to instill them with the new set of knowledge of the protocols of travel in the post-COVID environment, right? I know in South Korea, the Singapore Tourism Board worked very closely with many major travel trade partners and airlines. And there are probably a lot of new information that we need to provide them so that they can better advise their consumers about what traveling to Singapore is going to be like in the new normal and what are some of the additional protocols that they need to be aware of. So I think going forward is also making sure that we work hand in gloves with our Korean trade partners to really bring forward some of this new knowledge of travel. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful ideas. Moving on to Joanna. Once the travel restrictions are lifted, it will be different atmosphere for both the travelers and host countries receiving international travelers. What additional efforts do we need to make to prepare for travel after the pandemic?
First of all, I would love to say, Mr. Chang, hi.
Hello. Hi, Joanna.
It's lovely to
I'm so
be
glad I
on
came
this-
after you. I won't be able to match your storytelling abilities.
You are so sweet. I think that what the world is going to have to do is to start all over again. We've got to be very careful and respectful. We've got to be very clean and very distanced, but we must not be afraid. And I think one of the most important things, particularly for the travel industry, is not to be too timid, to spread, as has already been said, to get that vaccination out across the world in every country so everybody feels safe. I'm very pro having some sort of document which shows that you're double jabbed or treble jabbed, whatever it might be, so that the host country feels confident to have you with them, and which stops the long delays in quarantining when we get back. But as long as we remain respectful, as long as we always carry a mask, because some people will want you to be masked, and I see that the delegates and this wonderful audience are masked today, and we're not masked, otherwise you wouldn't be able to understand me. But just to say, be safe, be kind, be courageous, and always keep smiling. Keep on smiling. Keep your heart high. This is going to pass, and we are going to come to terms with it, and we will manage.
Beautiful. Thank you for the valuable insight, Joanna. The next question is for both of you. Korea is gearing up to welcome back our international travelers. What are some key areas Korea can focus on to attract more international travelers? First, Mr. Chang, please.
KNTO is really one of the tourism boards that we follow quite closely because they are exceptional in the things that they do, especially on international fronts. And also, I think Korea itself has a vast number of talents, right? From K-pop to movies. So a lot of the popular culture content that's coming out from Korea has global appeal, which is also the reason why we are working with Studio Dragons to get Singapore into some of the Korean dramas. So I don't want to think that I can offer any advice to KNTO because I know they are very good at their game. Perhaps as a personal traveler, as someone who has been to South Korea a number of times, maybe this is speaking more from my own personal experience. I think, firstly, to the point that Joanna has made earlier, that travelers want to discover new sort of areas beyond the traditional favorites and icons. I think that's certainly true of me. I've been to Seoul a couple of times, really enjoyed the capital, but I also want to see a bit more of the other parts of South Korea, which perhaps is not as marketed in Singapore itself. So I think that would be something that maybe KNTO can focus a bit on in terms of, for someone who has really been quite a frequent traveler to Seoul, what are the other places I can go beyond that, right? I know hiking and mountain climbing is a big hobby in South Korea. I know my colleagues back in my Seoul office are all very fervent outdoor nature goers. So again, I love to be able to know what are some of the places I can track to if I'm going to South Korea, because that's also getting back to nature and something that I know travelers today, especially in the COVID environment, really enjoy. I think the second piece of maybe suggestion is that to look at working with more partners, right? I know in South Korea, the Singapore Tourism Board is not only active by ourselves, but we work very closely with our other ASEAN partners to promote travel to Southeast Asia, right? And to promote travel to this region. So we of course, work very closely with the ASEAN Korea Center to really sort of heighten awareness of what each individual country in Southeast Asia can offer, but also the collective region itself. And I think that has proven to be quite successful. And again, maybe that's something that KNTO can perhaps think about as they look into recovering from this pandemic, is how do you amplify your voice globally through working with other partners and friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chang. And how about Joanna?
Well, I agree so much with what Mr. Chang says. I would also like to say that I think it helps a lot if you can read about the country you intend to visit. Get out the map and atlas. Now, I know that I'm old, and the young ones would always just find it on some machine, but I like to have an atlas, a map spread out in front of me. Look at the country, look where north and south is, look where the prevailing winds are, see where the sea coasts are there inland lakes, are there mountains, see what crops they grow, learn about their history, learn about great areas like, I'm going to say this wrong, like Pyeongchang, is that right? The Pyeongchang County, Busan, places like this. Read up about those and see where you could go, maybe on a bus. Make imaginary trips. Make some of the work before you even get there. Don't expect when you go to a country to be spoon-fed. Do your part, which is rather like, as an actor, we're on stage, we give a performance. Equally important is the audience giving back to us their reception. So before you travel anywhere, make sure, with respect, that you've read as much as you can, seen as much, maybe learned one or two words. I wish I spoke your beautiful language. You must forgive me.
Thank you, Joanna. It looks like we are getting close to the end of our time together today. We have to move on to the final wrap-up comments. Do you have any final message you'd like to deliver to Korean people? First, Mr. Chang, please.
I thank you for the friendship between the two countries, the very close friendship and cooperation. And I look forward to receiving you back in Singapore when the borders on both countries reopens. So hopefully that will be in a very near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chang. And how about Joanna?
I would just like to say, dear, beautiful Korea, I long to visit you. I promise to visit you. And we welcome you so much here, far away in the UK, whenever you can come to us. But first, I'm going to come to you with all my heart. So, 안녕 하세요. Thank you so much.
We are looking forward to seeing you travel in Korea soon. Thank you so much to both of you for taking time to join us today. 네, 지금까지 함께해 주신 두 분께
Thank you very much to our two guests. A big round of applause, please.
네, 이상으로 기조 섹션을 마치겠습니다.
That was the end of the keynote session. Thank you very much.
so many doors in this place. Where are they all connected to? For whom was the first step for? Newness becomes another culture. Trace becomes another story. The breath of this city that has ran without resting will tell you. Easy to reach, being closest to the Skyway. In this city full of life, the fanciness that blends with the old will satisfy anything. The magical scenery you don't know how you'll meet will come to you as a heart-touching moment. When you stay at a place for you prepared here and there, you will then know why they call this place Always Incheon. See, right now, right here, right this moment, the city breathing alive. To wherever you want, over time and space. The first in Incheon will be a specialness over the newness. Always Open City Incheon.
다음은 이번 박람
Now we're going to have a special session where we will wish for the big success. Oh, wait a second. In Songdo, we have this drone show being prepared. Let's take a look before we continue.
네, 정말 기대가 되는데요. 잠시
I have huge expectation. I so look forward to it. So we will go outside and watch the drone show later. But let's continue. We have many leaders from the tourism industry. Let me announce each one of them and please welcome them with a big round of applause.
윤유식
First, President Yoon Yu-sik of Korea MICE Tourism Society.
김상욱
Director General Kim Sang-wook for Policy Planning Bureau at the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism.
손창원
CEO Son Chang-wan of Korea Airports Corporation.
김경욱
CEO Kim Kyung-wook of Incheon International Airport Corporation.
민민홍
CEO Min Min-hong of the Incheon Tourism Organization.
이봉순 한국 PCO 협
Chairman Lee Bong-sun of Korea Association of Professional Convention Organizers.
배상민 한국
Chairman Bae Sang-min of Korea Tourism Startup Association.
오창희 한국
Chairman Oh Chang-hee of Korea Association of Travel Agents.
김춘추 한국
Chairman Kim Chun-chu of the Korea MICE Association.
안영배 한국
CEO An Young-bae of the Korea Tourism Organization.
박남춘
Mayor Bang Nam-chun of the Incheon Metropolitan City.
마지막으로
And last but not least, Minister Hwang Hee of the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. Please come up to the stage.
이제 2021
Now, with the beginning of the Korea International Travel Expo 2021, we would like to open the doors to Korean travel. You can find a button in front of you. When we press this button, we will be able to see the collection of all the tourism images, including Korean travel, MICE, luxury travel, and medical and wellness tourism. And with all these images putting together, we will aspire a new beginning of the Korean tourism industry. I'll count 1, 2, 3, and at the count of 3, please press the button. Please place your hand on the button.
자,
You
준비되셨나요?
ready?
하나,
1, 2, 3.
네, 2021 한국 관광
Now the doors to Korea are fully open with the beginning of the Korea International Travel Expo 2021.
Korea Unique Venue.
보드를 타고 세계 곳곳을 누빈 대한민국
We have seen the longboarder Gohyojin crew coming back to Korea. Please take a look.
네, 저희는 고요시지처럼 보트를 타고 달릴 수
We cannot ride a longboard like Gohyoju, but we will be able to see the beautiful night scene of Incheon with the double-decker bus. We will take a drive through the Incheon Bridge, and after the drive, we will have the drone show, which is the finale of this opening ceremony. Please board the bus.